want you guys thinking that everything is like so happy-go-lucky for me, like everything is like fine in my life. It's like the pregnancy is going awesome and everything's awesome, which
I am pretty much the epitome of karma this morning.
The day is catching up with me right now. Nolan is taking you guys want to go take a nap right now. I'm so tired.
There's definitely a fine line. If that was the case, then these things wouldn't be happening over and over and over again. As sad as that sounds, it's just reality. That's just how life is. I have accepted that I know not everything's going to be perfect. Today's video is going to be really different. We're going to talk about things that are very vulnerable for me, and I think the first time that I am going to fully open up, not saying that I haven't opened up before, but fully kind of put everything on the table.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I've got a new video for you, and someone in the live chat said, oh sheesh, we've got another Britney and baby video. Well, guess what we do? And that's exactly how I feel, because she released a new video yesterday which was quite random, and at some point it was unlisted, at some point it was posted. I was unsure what she was doing with it, but it is her tell-all come clean moment where Britney and baby finally shares what happened with Ian, what happened with the MDA, and everything else going on with her life, including her marriage with Frank. So get ready to pay close attention, grab a snack, and let's get into this drama. If you guys don't know who Britney and baby is, she is an influencer here on YouTube with a bunch of subscribers here, and she's approaching 500,000. So your girl is pretty popular on the platform, and like I said, she released this new video yesterday where she talks and addresses all the rumors and issues that have been going around on her name and on her husband's name and everything else for a long time. She talked for 2 hours and 20 minutes in this video, and honestly, I was so bored and so done, and I felt like the whole time she was really defensive. It felt very rehearsed. She felt coached, in my opinion, and I know it was her moment to come clean and open up and be real and be raw, but I just really didn't get that from that video, which is totally fine. But today I'm going to walk through what happened in the video so that you guys don't have to go and watch it for yourself. And just so you guys know, the interview was... Oh, is my internet connection okay, guys? I'm sorry. It looks like my connection's going in and out, in and out. Anyways, the video was weird. The video was very weird because not only was it really long, but it was an interview between her and this woman known as Cherry Bomb Mom. And the lady is interesting because they have their own history. Pretty much, Cherry Bomb Mom is a small YouTuber who has been following Britney for some time. They have had their own issues on social media where, you know, they have fought and she has made videos. And she has a little channel with approaching 10,000 subscribers where it looks like she posts family-related videos. Well, it looks like Britney thought it would be a good idea to have Cherry Bomb Mom interview her for her tell-all because this woman has challenged her in the past. And honestly, I just wonder what would have happened if I was asked to do it, because I totally would have done it. Like, I would have been like, yes, like, sign me up. Like, I'm so ready to ask you about everything. But could you guys imagine if it was me in that position? I mean, I kind of get why it was Cherry Bomb Mom, but also I really don't. What a random pick. Anyways, she was pretty pressured to do this video, I would say, by videos coming from my channel and videos coming from Layla's channel. If you guys know who Layla is, I've talked about her on my channel. She used to be friends with Britney, but she's made several videos talking about Britney and her relationship, and since then, it has caused Britney a lot of trouble, and it looks like these people, these videos, this content is forcing Britney to finally acknowledge what has happened over the last couple of years. So let's go ahead and just get into this video and what happened, because there again is so much. There's so much to take away, and it's really complex because I watched the video and at first I was like, oh my gosh, like this is what we need. Like this is what we've been asking for, a raw, real moment where she talks about what has happened. She opens up, there's hard-hitting questions, and I was like, yes, like save your reputation. Yes, give us what we want. Like I want to know. But I just feel like by the end of it all, I never really found her ever taking any accountability for what she did. It felt very defensive. She had an explanation for everything, but I want to hear what you guys think about it. So let's get into the video. I'll be playing a few little clips from the 2-hour-long video, but of course, like, it was extremely long, so we're gonna go through exactly what she talked about. So first off, she talked about Young Living. Thank you, Lorena, for your donation. I really appreciate it. But she talked about Young Living and how it's an MLM, and she talked about how she still loves the oils and she uses it every day, but she is not actively selling Young and Living, which again, I don't know if she is actively selling or not, because hopefully my connection is going all right, guys. I keep getting this like notification on my page that my connection is not good, and I don't know why that's happening. So I'm sorry if I'm lagging through, but she has a whole Instagram that was dedicated to her Young Living career, and this Instagram is down. It's gone. I cannot find it. So I don't know. She might be 100% done with Young and Living or whatever, because in the interview it sounded like she's done. She's called it quits, but like she has the link in her bio, so I'm still very questionable about that, but she did acknowledge it's an MLM, and she also stated that she loves the oils and she believes in the product. She then talked about some sponsors, because you guys know these girls, these mommy YouTubers on YouTube need those sponsors to make money, because YouTube doesn't really pay that much, and it's not like she is that huge on the channel. But she talked about how sponsors have come through in the past, and she shared that she hasn't said yes to every sponsor, and that she only picks sponsors that she feels that you guys would like, that she would like, and that her subscribers would enjoy. So she doesn't necessarily use all the sponsors that she represents, but she shared a quick story about how when she was breastfeeding her oldest son, Nolan, who has muscular dystrophy, which we will talk about in a second, she was offered a 5-figure payment for what is it called? Not breast milk, but child formula, to do like a formula promotion, but she was like, yo, I'm breastfeeding, so like I'm not gonna do that, and it's something she said no to. So it was an example of her, you know, not saying yes to everything and not trying to be a, you know, money hungry mommy YouTuber, even though it kind of was that vibe. Now, moving on, she talked a little bit about bruising in the beginning as well, which I thought was kind of random. She talked about how some of her kids sometimes will have bruises online, and she doesn't want to post them because of that, because they think that something has happened, or people run with assumptions, which there are pictures that come from Britney's channel. Like, there are pictures of her daughter where she has a bruise on her eye. That's probably the most recent. And at this time, she pretty much just stated that it scares her to be posting about her children and the bruising, because, you know, her son does have a disability and it's complicated, and she just doesn't want any criticism at all. She seriously cannot take any criticism. And honestly, the cherry bomb mom, I don't know much about her, but I wish she would have gone a little harder on Britney, because I feel like she was like giving Britney her answer sometimes. She was like, yeah, actually, this is what, like, you must have felt this way, right? Like, you must have done this. And Britney's just like, yep, yeah, that's exactly how it goes. Because even like the cherry bomb mom, she said something that stuck with me, and she was like, oh yeah, you know, I took my kids to my doctors and they don't even ask about bruising. They're like, I'm tired of being asked about bruising, blah, 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 trying to justify the fact that kids will have bruises on them. And I feel like it was a really weird moment, because I've never been a big like bruising child. So I don't know, bruises on children are concerning to me, in my opinion. Then she continued to talk a little bit more about her family, and she talked about her son, Nolan, because her son, Nolan, has muscular dystrophy. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's pretty much a disorder that is genetically passed. It affects boys, but it can be passed along through girls. And I'm not laughing at this story, I'm laughing at the live stream comment, because someone said she was so unbiased talking about Cherry Bomb Mom, which I get it. But her son has a serious disorder, muscular dystrophy, and she talked about the treatment of her son. And that has been something that has been up for question for some time, because her house, for instance, like her dream house that she built, it's not really, you know, handicap friendly. It's not made for a person with muscular dystrophy or someone who's going to have to end up in a wheelchair or with a walker of some sort. But pretty much she shared that her house that she's currently living in now isn't going to be her final home, and that her next home that she will build or purchase or whatever will be handicap friendly for her oldest son. She also talked about her son's physical therapy, because it's something that she doesn't really share online, and a lot of times people question whether he is getting treatment or not, so she reassured that he is getting the physical therapy. She also talked about the fact that she could possibly be in denial. A lot of people say, Britney, you are in denial because your child is going through this and you are not acknowledging it and you're not addressing it. But she said that she is fully aware of what's going on and that she is just not trying to make a big deal out of it, which I kind of find that part a little concerning and bothersome, because she mentioned something like the fact that my son, he has a disability, but he's not disabled. And she talked about how, you know, we don't want to have medical supplies around the house because we don't want to make it depressing. We don't want to label him as disabled because even though he is disabled, he's able to do a lot. And I just want to say, I get what she's trying to say with that approach, but this is so toxic for people who are actually disabled or suffer with disabilities, or just the mentality of disabilities in general. We should never assume that being disabled makes you any less happy, any less, you know, fulfilling in life or anything like that. When she talked about that, it actually broke my heart, because I feel like she's looking at this through the wrong lens. She's seeing her son as disabled, as incapable of doing certain things, when I think, in fact, the medical supplies should be celebrated. Like, oh my God, we have these things. You can do this now. Look how awesome. You're going to be better. And the disability shouldn't be seen as, oh yeah, we're not saying he's disabled or calling him disabled because we don't want him to think negatively of that. Well, it should just not be negatively talked about in general. And that's a personal thought that I just wanted to share out there. And it's something that stuck with me, especially after working with kids who do have disabilities. She also did get into detail saying that she, you know, Nolan may not wear his leg braces all the time, but she's got shoe inserts and she's doing everything she can to try to help his condition, but also keep him in a normal child happy life, you know, a friendly, basic, active life, which is totally fine. He can have that, but like, we also do need to acknowledge that he has muscular dystrophy, and one day this is going to affect him severely, and it also can affect her future children, which is something that she talked about. But before we talk about that, I do want to share that she talked about the whole MDA, you know, Brits Brew situation. And if you guys don't know what that is, pretty much Britney created merch on a platform called Bonfire. Hopefully my connection is still good, guys. I don't understand why my connection is so laggy. Like, can someone tell me, like, what? It makes me mad. Anyways, Britney and Baby created this merch called Brits Brew, and pretty much she sold it online, and the money was going to go to her son's a foundation that works on a condition, you know, that her son suffers from. It's MDA, which is Muscular Dystrophy Association, and they do research on the disability and whatever. So pretty much she created this merch to do that, and she talked about how people question where the money went, because she at this time was going through a breakup, and she was a single mother with 3 children, and she moved into an apartment, and at the same time she is, you know, she's trying to generate money for charity. And a lot of people are wondering, did she just need this money so that she can you know, move out and leave Ian and leave her first man's? And I think that's a big and reasonable question, because there was so much just evidence pointing against her that she maybe didn't pay that money. And I first want to play just a little clip where she talks about donating twice, because she claims that the system wasn't allowing her to make the full $3,900 donation at one time. She had to do it twice. And I feel like in this little clip, I can sense some body language. And when she's playing with her ring and talking about this, it makes it seem like she's not telling the truth. Like, I'm not even listening to the words that she's saying, but like the actions that she's doing, and it's a little bit awkward.
Now, what is the thing that came up where then there was also a discrepancy because you had to send it as 2 separate payments? People just assumed you were lying about that flat. They were like, I never heard of that. Why couldn't she send it all in one?
Well, I sent an email that a lot of people claim I got an email from the donor care coordinator. For some reason, when I made the donations, it wouldn't let me do the full amount that I wanted to send. I don't know why. They don't even know why I did that, but there was an issue with that. So I ended up having to do 2 separate donations. Well, I did 3 donations total, I want to say that, but I had to end up doing 2 separate donations right then and there for the big chunk of bulk from that merch. And so when I reached out to the NBA, because a lot of people were like, oh, she didn't donate, here's where the email says that she didn't donate. They apologized for the name mix up, and they said they don't know why I had to break up those 2 donations either. And they were confused about that.
Girl, I'm not a body language expert, but I'm not even believing you on that one, because how does the organization itself it doesn't understand what happened. Like, their website is very clear. You can go and put in any amount in the little box right there. She could put the $4,000 and turn it in. Like, there's no problem here. She did claim that, you know, there were some issues because her name is Britney and it's spelled like Britney Spears on social media, but it's actually spelled Brittany, like normal. And she claims that people would reach out to the organization and they were having issues, you know, finding her donations because of the name. But I found receipts of people reaching out to the organization, and when they asked about her channel, Britney and Baby, they asked about her name, and it was her legal name. As you guys can see in the email right around here, her name is Britney Sills at the time before she married Frank. And you guys can see people asked quite clearly what happened with this money to MDA, and it was very questionable enough that she actually got a cease and desist letter from the organization to stop her campaign on donating to the organization. Like, how sketchy do you have to be that a charity sends you a cease and desist to stop donating money to them because they cannot tell whether you are actually donating money or not? That I found was really questionable, and trust me, I've had my fair share of cease and desist. I understand how they work, and she definitely did something problematic there. They're going to go ahead and send her that cease and desist. Not only is the staff there going to work overtime to answer all these calls and answer all these emails, but it's problematic, and she probably shouldn't have ever taken this approach. You could easily work with a charity without having to create your own campaign to do so. I also want to mention something I wish she mentioned was her father's situation, because she set up a whole GoFundMe for his cancer testing, and she framed it in a way like he was getting treatment for cancer, and they had their goal like $10,000 or something, and then they made it $5,000, and that whole situation left a really bad taste in my mouth. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I have a video on it. It's called like breaking down Britney and Baby's scams, but you can go check that out because it definitely rubbed me the wrong way. But when it comes to the MDA situation, you can get a receipt from your like donation and your email within minutes of making that donation. And I don't know why she just wouldn't share something like this. Like, why couldn't Britney just share the donation receipt that she had? She went ahead and shared emails that, you know, don't even really look that legitimate. Like, where's the banner? She claims this is an email from NDA, you know, about her 2 generous donations. But I really feel like I'm calling bullcrap. Like, why am I calling bullcrap? Because I just feel like the claim that, oh yeah, like they don't know what happened to the donation page. Like, they don't know what happened. Like, the donation page is quite simple. Like, what do you mean what happened? There's no story here. It just seems like you got very nervous and anxious and you started playing with your rings. You didn't know how to answer that question. Okay, cool. I think we got that part done. Let's move on and talk a little bit about Ian, because I feel like the Ian situation is huge. If you guys don't know who Ian is, it is her first man's, and they actually had 3 children together. And this situation was really questionable because, like we talked about, she was doing that whole donation moment at that time, and it seems like she was using that money to get away from the situation and to leave him. And when it comes to her relationship, she shared the fact that she was mentally checked out of that relationship for over a year before she left. It was almost like they were roommates even though they had kids together. Britney tried to portray an image that everything was okay for the kids' sake, but she just needed to leave that relationship. And she jumped on a dating site quite quickly. That's where she met Frank. And she said that she was able to do that because she was so emotionally checked out. And it's a little bit questionable because during that time, her and Ian were pretty active and pretty happy on social media. So I don't know what she's talking about or what she was depressed in, or maybe she just had you know, some underlying demons that she did not address for some time. Well, they actually had Harlow, their last child, together because Britney said that she thinks it would fix the relationship and that it would, you know, give them hope. But obviously that did not happen at all, because when it came down to the breakup, Ian didn't see anything coming. She claimed that they talked about it for a long time, that she would threaten, you know, I'm going to leave you, I'm going to end this, like, we're breaking up. But like, he never really understood that, and he was pretty much blindsided by it. Like, I would be too.
Right away. Like, it was kind of scary with how fast that I did trust him, being that I have my guard up and I don't trust people right away at all. So I think that was a
wrong clip. I just realized I played the wrong clip.
Ian
This
see
one.
it coming?
No. He I'll put it this way.
Like, okay, I'll have to reword it because he may have known that there was problems, but did he
Right,
think
right. I'll put it this
about
way. I talked about leaving for so long, but never followed through with it. And then I think because I didn't follow through with it for so long, when it finally did happen, it was very unexpected.
Then it was like still blindside because he still was like,
Right.
okay, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm so messy today, guys. Sorry, my live stream is just kind of all over the place. This video was so long and so hard to get through and just to pull clips from. Like, I'm actually so done talking about her. But this also is like so much tea because at the same time, she's really defensive and her explanations just aren't it from me. So, moving on. She talks about dating and how she really couldn't go anywhere to meet anyone. And when it comes to her meeting Frank, she actually met him through FaceTime for their first time. And when he came over shortly after, the kids were asleep and they had an instant connection and they moved quite quickly in their relationship. As you guys can see, she jumped from one relationship to another, which is kind of questionable and probably a lot for the children. But she says that she trusted him very quickly.
Right away. Like it was kind of scary with how fast that I did trust him, being that I am on the guard of I don't trust people right away at all. So I think that was like my intuition almost.
The kind of a contradiction that I've seen people point out is that you did make a comment after you left Ian, that you weren't looking for anybody and that you weren't in a rush, but then people were like, well, then why were you on a dating site so fast?
Yes.
Also, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like Cherry Bomb Mom, she talked a lot. Like, she really talked a lot. Like, it was an hour and 10 minutes long, right? Or no, 2 hours and 10 minutes long. And I want to say she was definitely like a solid, like, hour of it. But anyways, moving on, when Frank really got into the picture, Ian was not happy about it. Ian did not like Frank, and Frank did not like Ian. And when it came to Harlow, Ian and Britney's youngest child, there was some controversy there. And honestly, it's something that I talked about on my channel in the past. So pretty much, you know, Britney and Ian had 3 children, and their youngest daughter, Harlow, was really young when they separated. And when Frank stepped into the picture, they moved really quickly and they had their relationship moving on real fast. Like, he was pretty much daddy, like, after 2 months. And Harlow was calling him daddy. And that was something that they let Harlow decide on what to do, which was kind of weird. I guess, I mean, she's just a baby, so she's comfortable calling Frank dad because he was just there, and I'm sure the other kids, call him dad or whatever. But it was really weird because that's not his dad, and she's like, that's not her dad, and she's still very young, and I don't think she should be calling, like, her mom's new boyfriend dad after he, like, just met her after, a few months. But that was something that Britney did, and a lot of people found that questionable, and I found that questionable as well, because I think it's weird that he really just jumped into their lives so quickly. Like, yeah, that's great that he's here to step up for them, but like, that's not your daughter, and I feel like it's disrespectful to Ian to try to let her call you daddy when you know that's probably not okay. But I'm sure Frank loved it. I'm sure he did.
Why did you say we can't stop her? When people were just like, well, no, you can correct her. What was your thinking there? And then, were you doing something that Ian, and you had also put something out on Instagram saying, you admitted, because someone asked you a question, you said Ian wouldn't be happy if the kids call Frank dad.
Right. I think in the beginning,
so can you explain that?
Right. I think in the beginning we kind of we did leave it up to her on because if she was looking at him as a father figure, this is like our mindset. Then if she felt comfortable saying that, then we would leave it up to her, because coming from a divorced family, and having a stepmom too. Of course, I was older. I kind of know what that's like. And
now, none of the kids call Frank dad now, right?
No, she that only lasted for a little while. Then she started calling Frank. So.
When it comes down to Ian and Frank now, they are cordial and they have made up, because I think Frank understands the boundary that he crossed. And I think that Ian wants Frank to be a mentor and a role model and a proper stepfather for Harlow, rather than trying to step in and become the father, because obviously that's where it gets a little bit iffy. Ian is doing well now, though. He is great, and he's enjoying his private life off of YouTube. Britney actually shared that she wishes that Ian was more involved in YouTube, because she always wanted more from him, but it seemed like he didn't like that, and that's good for him. If he doesn't like it, don't do it and live your best life. And when she was asked whether he will, appear in future vlogs, she was like, probably not. Most likely not. And honestly, I don't think he should. I feel like it's a little bit weird, and we'll just have to see where her content goes, because her content alone is very questionable, and I don't know the direction that is heading in, but she did talk about that a little bit. One thing she also shared was the fact that people believe that Frank has brainwashed her into having more children. And she shared that she was not brainwashed and that she wanted to have more children, which is kind of weird because her content alone, she said for some time, like, I'm not having any more kids, I'm not having any more kids. And then Frank was like, yeah, we're having more kids. Yeah, we're having more kids. Because when Frank became in the picture, he was more invested in the YouTube. So he was happy to be on camera and he was happy to share his opinions. And honestly, he's very religious, which is totally fine, but he uses his religion to act like their religion is going to protect their son from having muscular dystrophy or their child from having muscular dystrophy, when that in fact isn't going to happen. Like, muscular dystrophy cannot be prayed away, and that's something that people believe that Frank has convinced Britney into. Well, Frank and Britney have had 2 children, and one is a daughter, and their most recent son is a boy. Obviously it's a son, and whether this kid has DMD or not is up for question, and that's something Britney doesn't actually know either. She says that she will tell everyone when she gets him tested. She may or may not share the result, but yeah, that's a controversial topic right there, because DMD in general, like, that's very personal. You guys probably have your own beliefs about it too, but like, she can pass on a life-suffering genetic disorder to multiple children, and she's already had 5 kids. So if her other 5 kids have more kids and like more kids, like, she's just spreading a genetic disorder that is very heartbreaking for so many children and parents who watch their children like deteriorate. And some people call her selfish for it. I've made my own video about it. I've apologized for the video I made about it. And when it comes to my feelings on it, I can't really decide what's wrong and right for her body. But I do feel like she doesn't have the best answers when she's asked about it. Like, she doesn't make me feel content when she shares her reasoning on why she's having more kids or why it's okay. When it comes to her content, she did talk a little bit about more videos and doing more live streams, which is something she doesn't do on YouTube. If you guys don't know, I am live streaming right now, so I can read your comments live, and this video will be posted after I am done live streaming, and I'll go have some water. But anyways, she's talking about doing more live streams on her channel. And I find that really interesting because live streams are very hard to do. You have to be on one, you have to be ready, you can't make mistakes. Like, if something happens that is bad, or if you say something, you can't cut it off. And she claims that she wants to do this more often and maybe do like a charity setup with it. And honestly, I feel like you just need to stay away from charities, girl, because you had that problem with the muscular dystrophy one, and obviously it ended up really bad. So I feel like charities you should just stay away from. But I would be interested to see her do some live streams, just because I feel like it would be a hot mess. Like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine live streaming with a bunch of kids and everything else. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. So I felt like that part was really interesting. But she did share a little bit about her channel and about the direction of it, because like I said, when Frank came into the picture, he really stepped up on her channel, and her channel became more of like a couples channel, a family channel. And she wanted to reiterate that she's actually trying to make her channel more personal, more about herself, more about her perspective. I think she wants to be more vulnerable on it, even though she probably won't be any more vulnerable at all. She's probably going to even be more safeguarded in the future, because what she's posted in the past has gotten her in trouble. But she did point out that she's got her other channel with her mans called More with Moros that has 130,000 subscribers. And in this channel, she shares a couple things, family videos, and all the content that nobody wants to see on her Britney and Baby channel. And at this time, when she was talking about More with Moros, she was talking a little bit about the drama that has been going on with Frank. And honestly, the drama is so extra. Like, I cannot. If that was my husband, I would be like, please, like, get off social media. There's one reason why I like that my boyfriend doesn't really care for social media, because it's nice to have that disconnect. Like, it's, you know, he's not on it, so it's just like kind of my thing over here and whatever. But anyways, she talked about, and I actually wrote this in a quote in my notes. She wrote, marital issues should stay off the internet. I want to say that one more time. Britney and Baby said, marital issues should stay off the internet. Girl, like, please take your own advice, because she has had so many issues on the internet. I feel like bringing her relationship problems on here has only made it so much worse the last couple of weeks. That's why she has to do this video, because she's clarifying everything that went down with Frank. And you guys know that Frank, her husband, actually DM'd me in the past. I made a whole video about that. So it's like, bro, get your drama, your pettiness off of social media and go address it yourself. And it sounds like that's what they did, but it really did get petty. And I feel like they probably were headed towards a complete divorce, that they weren't going to get better, and that she was over and done with him, and that he was done with her.
When we were going through what we were going through, we were being petty on both sides. There were a lot of things that were being shown on through social media, and a lot of things that weren't being shown. And again, I think that left a lot of room for assumptions and, you know, people assuming that we were getting divorced.
Yeah, like, that is extremely petty. I feel like, at least you know, girl, at least you know. But there's also another part of this story. So, I mean, you guys know the timeline. Hold on, let me pull it up. There's a whole timeline where, you know, Frank removes certain things from his Instagram. She removes certain things from her Instagram. And it's obviously really just toxic that they are handling their issues on Instagram. But the most toxic thing of them all is definitely hashtag father of two, which I think is such a crazy like controversy. And obviously it's called hashtag father of two. It should be coined that way as well. And Frank, her husband, pretty much wrote this in his bio because she, you know, has 3 other kids with her previous man's, and he doesn't want to be the father of them anymore if he's fighting with Britney. So he clarified on his Instagram that he is only the father of 2 when it comes down to it, because these other kids are not his kids. And I feel like it's weird that she claims there was no divorce talk, but then Cherry Bomb Mom is acting like it's normal to do this. Like, this was an extremely bad fight, and just listen to what she has to say about this.
And going to the father of 2 hashtag, I want to say this is as comfortable as I feel like saying. We were headed down a road of, I guess, no return when it comes to our marriage. Really down that road without going into details. So technically, when we thought we were going through that, and when that was changed, technically Frank would be a father of 2. As much as he treats the other kids as his own, as much as he loves them, at the end of the day, if we were to ever get a divorce, he would be a father of 2. He has no rights to the 3 oldest kids. So I know a lot of people.
Like, if you guys did completely ever separate,
yes,
it would actually seem kind of creepy if he kept saying father of 5, because he doesn't even have any adoption rights or anything.
My opinion from that is that she really thought that they were done. Like, they were really headed towards this breakup. And honestly, I feel like it's just so weird that, like, 5 minutes ago we were talking about how Harlow was calling him daddy and how that was the whole scandal. And then now he's fighting with Britney and he's just, you know, father of 2. Like, Harlow, don't call me daddy because I'm not your daddy. So cringe, in my opinion. Honestly, this tainted his reputation, and it's really bad for just the kids as well, because a lot of people saw him as a great man for coming in and fathering these 3 other children and stepping up to the plate, because obviously that is a huge responsibility to take care of these children, and especially when they're not yours. But I feel like it's just clear now how he feels about these children, and that when it comes down to it, if he's going to have a petty fight with Britney, the children are going to be affected by this, and that's just not great. Then she continued talking on her channel about their relationship now, and she says they are much, much better and that they're doing great. And actually, their wedding is pushed back because of COVID and because of their child, but they are looking forward to getting married. And yeah, they probably shouldn't bring their problems onto social media anymore. And I think that she probably learned her lesson when it comes down to that one. Then she talked a little bit about conforming to, you know, YouTube and how her like content is pretty much staged. And in this little bit, the Cherry Bomb Mom lady, friend, whoever she is, asks Britney a little bit about, you know, what's it like to be a YouTube mommy, and, you know, why is your channel so, like, you know, planned out, and it feels really calculated. And Britney pretty much opened up about how the fact that, you know, she has to keep her house constantly clean for sponsorship deals that she has for pictures, and how she's pretty much just really OCD when it comes down to it. And she really shared a part that stuck with me, where she said that other YouTube mommies and these other mommy vloggers start, you know, becoming one. They all start looking the same, they start acting the same, they start buying the same stuff. It all just kind of becomes one industry. And she shared that there is some competition when it comes down to that, which sounds reasonable to me, and that she has to keep up with it. And it's kind of a struggle for her. Something that stuck with me was that she said that she has to remind herself all the time that she's her own person. I feel like as a grown woman, like if you have to remind yourself all the time that you're your own person, like that's just very interesting to me. Like I've never met an adult who has experienced that, or who, I mean, there's a difference with knowing who you are and finding out who you are, but having to remind yourself that you're your own person, that you're your own person, like who's running your life, makes me feel like that's something like that Britney Spears or something would say. Like, yeah, I have to remind myself I'm my own person because I'm constantly working and pleasing everyone else. There was a little segment in there that she talked about where she mentioned drama channels and suing drama channels, and I honestly, I started sweating. I was like, what are you talking about, sis? Like, what do you mean? But she had not too much to say when it comes down to that, just pretty much that she is going to hold, you know, channels accountable and that she's not scared to sue. But at the same time, she's trying to move on and she's trying to forget all of this drama that she has had in the past couple of years. She did talk about blocking and disabling comments. She said she only does this if the comments are slander or, you know, really rude. When it starts to affect her and her business, she takes it very seriously. Just because she's a public figure doesn't make it okay for people to call her out and to bring negativity into her life. So she will block, but she may open her comments up in the future. But moving forward, it sounds like she really just wants to have a clean slate and forget about this. She feels like this video alone was her vulnerable moment. And honestly, I think she's expecting a forgiveness from everyone. Who's going to tell her? But anyways, I feel like she is trying to get forgiveness and that she's expecting it, and that she feels like this moment was really raw and really real. But in my opinion, I feel like it was really coached and really planned out and really edited. Like you can tell that Britney edited it, and there are certain parts where the video like clips around and the like tape jumps, and I feel like it's a little bit questionable. Like, how are you going to close the book on this when we still have questions about your dad, when the whole MDA situation still doesn't feel good, and when we really just don't like Frank anymore after what he did? But you know what? She's trying.
I do realize that's what, if I'm going to be putting myself out there, that's one thing that I want to be able to do. Still confirm stuff, still talk about stuff, but whatever I'm comfortable. But I want to go back to feeling like this gives me enjoyment. Like I'm happy to do this. Like I look forward to doing this. So that's definitely the direction that I'm headed after this. I hope so. I really hope so. It's almost like it's like I'm closing a chapter, or I'm closing a book almost, and that's where I want to be at.
So in her own words, she wants to close this book and stop with it, which honestly, I would like to too, but also I've already covered this stuff, so there's really nothing much for me to say. But I just want to come on here and just review this video with you guys for those who don't want to go and watch a 2-hour-long video, and just give you my feedback, because a lot of this stuff are things that I've talked about, and I'm sure it's not all me, but I'm probably part of the reason why she addressed this in this video, because I have called her out on these things and she hasn't clarified it. And even in my personal DMs with her, I never got any clarification around the MDA or certain things that I was asking her about and her fans were asking her about. But to close the video, it was really weird, almost like the intro of the video where she was, you know, putting a bunch of old clips together where she's apologizing or talking about being stressed out, or, you know, trying to make it seem like she is overwhelmed and, you know, busy. And I just felt like the outro was
life is
also
all about
really
learning
weird.
Experiences and going through hardships and going through tough times and figuring out,
like, this entire time she's over here like like they're little clips from the past, and I'm like, what is this supposed to represent?
And I do want to say that I am sorry to any of my followers that found out and felt betrayed or
like, is this her trying to like show us like, yeah, I've apologized so many times, I've learned so many times? Like, what is this? I don't understand this part of the video. She's literally like mashing up little clips from other videos in the past where she's like apologized and she's learned things, and I feel like the outro and the intro were so weird in this video. Like the weirdest part of it all. Like she should have kept them out, because it was like, wait, the beginning, like, are you trying to make it seem like your life is really hard and chaotic? And then the end is like, are you trying to make it seem like you've learned something, that you have grown? Like, what is actually going on here? And I don't really know what her message is, but it seems like whatever it is, she is trying to fix her reputation and to close this book. And honestly, I'm not over here trying to dig for things. It's coming to me. They're DMing me people are sending me things, and I just feel like if she is going to put her life out here, she's going to get the criticism, she's going to get the comments, and that's just part of it. And she's going to get the criticism and the comments in her apology video. It's just a forever cycle. You would think seeing people like Jeffree Star and other people on social media, you would learn that like when you apologize, like it doesn't always make things better, but at least she did provide some clarity around there. And honestly, I encourage anyone who is going through something to just sit in front of the camera and open up and to answer those hard-hitting questions. Maybe it wasn't exactly what I wanted and it didn't exactly make me feel any better about the situation, but at least she tried, right? I don't know. I'm like, oh, I feel like also it was totally fake and coached. Like, I just have so many feelings about it. So I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below, because honestly, I watched this thing and I was just like really bored and just drained. And then now I need to sit back and reflect on everything that happened because it was a lot. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in a new video soon. Bye, guys.